Hey, my name's Will Erickson from momentumgroup.tech. I'm going to talk very briefly about how to make your Bubble app secure. So people often ask questions like, how do I build a secure app? How do I make my app secure? How do I manage the risk of being hacked and not losing all that precious data? Is Bubble even secure as a platform? Can I trust it? Well, first up, I want to just say that Bubble provides a high level of security out of the box. Have a look at this link here. I've just got it here, and there's a lot of information about the way that Bubble secures its platform, so you can have confidence to know that you can build important, critical applications and data on Bubble. This being said, Bubble also relies on its users to know how to configure its security settings properly. So I'm just going to talk about the main settings you need to be aware of. So the first thing, very importantly, never share your Bubble login credentials with anyone. You might be a developer, you might be developing an app, and you might want to give access to another developer. Never send them your username and password. That's like handing them the keys to your house and asking them to do whatever they like. What you should do instead is enable two-factor authentication on your account so it's locked down, and then you can invite people to be a collaborator on your app. Most developers will have the agency plan, so they're free to collaborate on your app. So never share your credentials. Number two, in settings, what you need to do is keep your application rights set to private. So over here, I've gone into settings, I've gone into general, and then there's this application rights section. Define who can see and modify the app, private app. You must leave this as private app. If you put it on everyone can edit or everyone can view, then basically all of the data in your database, all of your API keys and your plugins are totally public to anyone who comes along and enters this URL. Not very secure. Okay, thirdly, you need to be aware that you need to secure the data in the front end, but also in the back end. It's not enough just to limit, do a search for queries in the front end to the data that you want to show to that particular user, because theoretically people could come and still query the data from your Bubble app by making API calls to your database. So what we need to do is secure the data in the back end as well. The way we do that is by using privacy rules. Now, you need to understand privacy rules, and you need to understand how to use privacy rules relevant to your use case. So some apps, it might be fine that all users see all data within the app, but in other apps, you might be building a platform with multiple accounts. And in that case, each of those accounts should be a limitation so that only that account user can see the data that that account should see. And then you get things like marketplaces where you've got a crossing of those different privileges. But it's critically important to understand privacy rules and to apply them appropriate to your use case. Fourthly, never share your API keys publicly. So in your plugins, you've got a bunch of API keys. You might store API keys in the database as well. You need to keep those protected so that people cannot see them. Finally, enforce the rule of least privilege. So this is a cybersecurity principle, and you need to understand how this works across Bubble in a number of different examples. So for example, you might need to delete test pages that are showing some data that you don't want users to see, although technically the backend privacy rules should handle that. Secondly, don't enable and open up your data API and expose data tables to the world unless you intend to do so and you have a reason to do so. Thirdly, don't allow the API workflows in your backend to be public unless you need them to be public. These are some examples of how to enforce the rule of least privilege, but there is also a number of other examples. For example, how you manage your collaborators. So this is a little bit of an introduction. I've given you a high level about the things you need to know to secure your Bubble app. But if you are building apps professionally as a developer, or you are building an app that you're pushing into production, you've got users on there, you need that data to be secured, then I really suggest you check out momentumgroup.tech/academy. We cover all of this and more in much more detail. I hope to see you there.